Hey, what's going on, everyone? Dan Wanis here with the Daily Fantasy Press. I'm going to be breaking down the Valero Texas Open, but before we get to that, let's take a look back at the RBC Heritage. Big congrats to Wesley Bryan, the rookie this year on tour, former Web.com champion last year. Just awesome to see this youngster pull off the victory in his hometown and not let the tournament get away as it did with some guys. He made the putts when it mattered, and just came up clutch. And it was great to see him win. Such a humble guy. So really happy for Wesley Bryan. Now we're going to move on to the Valero Texas Open. It is played at TPC San Antonio in San Antonio, Texas. It's a par 72, and it plays at 7,400 yards. So a much longer course than we've been dealing with the last few weeks. Defending champion is Charlie Hoffman. This guy's course history is incredible. We'll be breaking it down here in a bit, but just like last week, Luke Donald, he had the course history at RBC Heritage. Charlie Hoffman is your equivalent this week. So taking a deeper look here at the course, the Texas Open is actually one of the oldest tournaments on tour, and has been played at TPC San Antonio since 2010. So any course history that you see prior to 2010, just ignore it. It was played a few miles away from here, and that's about the only similarity you will find with it. But it is... the previous course was a resort-style course, wasn't even 7,000 yards. So you can throw all that out the window with any course history prior to 2010. The course was designed by Greg Norman in 2009. And an interesting story about his design when building this, he was going through a divorce at the time, and people joke around that that this course kind of reflects his time in life going through this divorce. And it's just a brutal course that can get anybody. And specifically, Kevin Na, just a couple years ago, he shot a 16 on hole number 9. And there's these native areas that just are spread throughout the course. And that it's played in the desert, so you've got rocks, you've got brush, you've got trees, and a little thicker rough as well, but nothing to worry about and really start looking at driving accuracy or anything like that, but just something to note. The par fives play very long, almost being close to 600 yards. And it was actually rated the second most difficult non-major course on tour last year. So very difficult course. The greens are Bermuda grass, and they rate an 11 on the stimp meter, which is very fast. So you'll see a lot of balls getting away from people once they land on the green. It's not uncommon to see those just kind of trickle off. And this course can be played in some wind, and that's when it can just play almost impossible. And we'll take a look at weather here in a bit, but it looks like we should be fine, especially for wind and even precipitation. So it should be some perfect golfing conditions for the weekend. And looking at the key stats this week, we're looking at strokes gained tee to green, a stat we like every week. Par 4 scoring, since those are going to be the holes you'll be able to get your birdies on. The par 5s being at almost 600 yards, you won't have as many birdie opportunities on those long holes. Bogey avoidance, once again, with the difficulty of the course, I don't want a guy that gets behind early and has to get birdies just to get back to par. Birdie or better percentage, you want guys that can score, but you want that happy medium between a scorer and someone that has bogey avoidance. And lastly, driving distance with the long course. So moving on to weather. Thursday, Friday, we're looking at temps in the upper 80s. It's going to be humid, but no storms at the moment in the forecast. And then Saturday, Sunday, a possibility of a strong morning thunderstorm. I'd say that's too far out to even worry about, and you won't know who has which tee times on Saturday anyways going into the event. And then taking a look at the wind. It looks like wind gusts will not get above 15 miles per hour on Thursday, and wind speeds will be right around 10 miles per hour for the day. So at the moment, there is no advantage morning versus afternoon at the moment. And we'll monitor this throughout the week, so stay tuned to us on Twitter, and we will provide those updates, and also in our Periscope Wednesday evening. So looking at our first stat here that we're keying in on, strokes gained tee to green, coming in first out of anyone in the field this week that's playing is Tony Finau. He ranks 12th on tour in strokes gained tee to green. You'll see a lot of the guys popping on this in this statistic are bombers. Next we have Brendan Steele. He ranks 13th on tour. Ryan Palmer, he ranks 16th. Luke Liss, known for his length, he's 18th. Stuart Sink, ranked 31st. And lastly, Johnny Vegas at 32nd. Also a guy that went to college in Austin. He's a former Longhorn, so another guy that plays well in Texas. Next, we have our par 4 scoring leaders. And once again, Brendan Steele making the list here. He ranks 11th in par 4 scoring. Jamie Lovemark also tied for 11th. And once again, Tony Finau. And a lot of this has to do with the length these guys have off the tee. Making it a much closer approach shot for your second ball strike. And then Stuart Sink, he's ranked 15th along with Keegan Bradley. Keegan, a guy that had an up and down weekend at RBC Heritage, and he's actually popping in our models this week. So he'll be someone to explore, I think, this week. Adam Hadwin, he's priced up 9,100, and he ranks 28th on tour in par 4 scoring. All right, so let's take a look here at bogey avoidance. Adam Hadwin making the list again. He ranks 3rd on tour in bogey avoidance. And in a week where it's going to be crucial to avoid mistakes, because if you get some bogeys, it's going to be difficult to claw back and get your birdies and try to get back to par. So I want a guy that can just avoid trouble and play a little more laid back golf, without having to try to make up those bogeys and get the birdies when falling behind, because it's going to be tough at a course like this to make up lost ground. And then Brendan Steele, again, he ranks 4th in bogey avoidance on tour. John Huh, he ranks 17th. Luke List, once again, making our key categories this week. Billy Horschel, 22nd, and Tony Finau, 26th. So I think you guys can see a theme here with guys like Brendan Steele, Adam Hadwin, Luke List, Tony Finau. Those are going to be the guys I want to build my core around this week. I think it's a week where it's anybody's tournament that's going to be up for grabs, similar to last week at RBC Heritage. There were a lot of golfers outside the top 40 in the world golf rankings that had a chance at a victory. So with the weaker field this week, I think we're going to see a similar thing this week. So let's move on to course horses. We've got Charlie Hoffman. I mentioned him at the beginning. He is just unbelievable here at TPC San Antonio. He's got 7 straight top 15 finishes. He won here last year. He's got a second and a third place finish as well. So there's no question about this guy. Regardless of what form he's currently in, playing this event, I'd say he's pretty safe to play, but he comes at a hefty price tag, $10,700. Next, we have Ryan Palmer at $8,600. He finished 4th and 6th here the last 2 years. He's got 4 top 15 finishes over his career here. So I like Ryan Palmer this week. I don't know if he's not normally a guy that gets talked up. So he could be a guy that you get at lower ownership, especially compared to Charlie Hoffman. I mean, he's going to be the chalk of the week, even if he is at 10,700. So we got Ryan Palmer, and lastly, Zach Johnson. And as I was looking through some of the guys' course history, it was tough to find this last guy, and I know he's not at the top of the model. He's by no means a bomber, but he won in 2008 and 2009 at this event. And I mentioned it was at a previous course, but he also, since moving courses and being played at TPC San Antonio, he's got a 6th, 20th, and 29th finish here at the Valero Texas Open. So even though it is a longer course, he has played well here. And like I said, maybe it's the memories of winning in San Antonio at the previous course, but we've got Zach Johnson at 9,300. I do think his price tag is higher than it should be for a guy like that, but if you're looking to pivot away from some of the guys in that upper $8,000, lower $9,000 range, I think he's a guy that you could play in, and he's a safe play. And then lastly, we have our GPP plays of the week. First on the list, JT Poston at 6,900. We have been on JT and the Honda, Valspar, Puerto Rico, and he's played really well at each of those events. And I think the only reason we've been on him is his stats have aligned with some of these courses. And once again this week, he's popping in our model. He seems like a guy that whenever he pops in models, he goes out and he plays well. So I think he checks the boxes in par 4 scoring, bogey avoidance, and birdie or better percentage. So I like JT this week. He will not be owned by any means. So I think you've got great play with JT at 6,900. Next, we have Ollie Schneider-Jans. He had a really strong finish and great weekend at the RBC Heritage, and he ranks 38th in driving distance and 37th in strokes gained tee to green. And something to note about Ollie that I've noticed, so he has shot 4 rounds under 70 at both RBC Heritage and Genesis this year. So that's, you don't see too many guys that can string that out over 4 days. And I think his stats correlate really well with the course this week. And he's another young guy that I think we're gonna be seeing him up near the top of the leaderboards, especially in a weaker field event like this. So his price tag it's higher than what we're used to seeing, 8,200. But like I said, I love him as a GPP play this week. And lastly, we have Sung Kang. He is coming in at 7,400. And he checks the boxes and comes in at top 50 on the PGA Tour in driving distance, strokes gained tee to green, par 4 scoring, and birdie or better percentage. So I think just like Ollie and JT, their stats align really well with this course. all can hit it off the tee, which is big. And yeah, I think at 7,400, Sung Kang, by no means a household name. I like him as a GPP play this week. And this wraps it up. Thank you guys for listening. Our Twitter handle, for those of you that are not following us, you can find us at Daily Fantasy Press. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up for these YouTube videos if you guys enjoy them. That's how you can help support us. And lastly, our website, dailyfantasypress.com. We will be coming out with our article this week for DraftKings and also fantasy drafts. So be sure to look out for those articles. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to message us on Twitter. We're really responsive with anyone that has questions, and we really enjoy just interacting with our followers. And I know we learned stuff along the way as well, so feel free to do that. And any suggestions, let us know. Also, if there's stuff you want us to be looking at that we're not identifying. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and best of luck in your tournaments this weekend.